Alright, g'day guys, and welcome to a special early release episode. We've got a little bit of, what is it, the only fly in this whole area has just decided to come out now.
No, it's the middle of winter. You turn the camera on, the flies turn
Only
up.
fly. Where was I if I was really interrupted by a fly? A little bit of news to share with you guys. First of all, recently we ran a competition for selling some merch, and we put all those names into a draw. And I'd like to personally thank both of you. No, just kidding. there's a few names in there. So we put them into a drawer, and I'll put it up on the screen now so you can see it, and then we'll give the lucky person a call. So it comes up on the screen. Here we go.
Yep.
You see that?
It's rolling, it's rolling, it's rolling. It's rolling very slowly. Is it going to stop?
There we go.
Absolutely, it stopped.
What's the name?
Bradley Mess.
Messenger.
Oh, Messenger. Okay, it's got Bradley Mess. Yes.
You'll see it on the screen. We'll let it go all the way to the end on the phone. But Bradley Messenger, congratulations, mate. You are the winner of the $100 fuel voucher. And I happen to have your phone number here, mate. So we're going to call you and give you the news. And you're probably not going to answer. So maybe we'll call you on the way home if you don't answer. So,
but we'll have a crack.
We'll have a crack. All right. Here we go.
Drum roll, suspense.
He's not going to answer, is he?
I can't answer the phone right now. Please leave me name and number and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Bradley, it's Paul and Gary from Perth 4x4 Adventures, mate.
G'day, Brad.
We'll probably give you another call, mate, but we'd just like to say congratulations. You are the winner of our $100 fuel voucher, mate, so I will post that out to you. But we'll probably give you another call, and if you call us back while we're filming this, then even better. All right, mate, congratulations again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah,
right.
Congratulations, mate.
See ya. All right, there we go, an anticlimax. So I was really hoping you'd answer that.
So we built the suspense all for not very much. Brad, get on the phone.
Even though this is long over by the time you see this. All right, the second part of today's story is, when is it? In a few weeks' time, we're heading off.
20th of July.
20th of July, and where are we now? Well, you're going to see this basically next week when I drop it. So we're in early June now, so we've only got
6.5 weeks.
6.5 weeks. We are off on a big trip. We are bombing it over to South Australia, and I'll hand you over to the fearless trip leader who has plotted out this trip, and he's done a great job. Gary can't usually find himself out of the way out of the Waruna car park, let alone to Uluru, but he's done it.
Well, let's just say that Gary's got a whole lot of notes written down here. Whether or not we can actually find half of this stuff, well, that's a different story,
this is true.
And you'll see that as we go. But anyway, I guess a little bit of this is around about how we actually plan for a trip, because I'm sure our long-term viewers will understand we don't really plan a great deal. We always have a little bit of a loose plan, and this one was a loose plan. It was hatched over a couple of beers at a pub one day just prior to Christmas, and it was, let's go to Uluru.
Something like that.
So everyone was like, yeah, that sounds like a good plan. And then we sort of sat down and went, okay, so it's a fair distance. Who wants to see what on the way? Because it's pointless shooting straight up, seeing Uluru, shooting straight back again. So it came down. Paul was very interested in the Old Garn Railway line, which is on the Udinadatta track. I've never done Goog's track, and it was always Paul and my intention to do the Goog's track. And I guess the Uluru thing came about. I did a quick trip to Uluru last year, just up and back on the back end of one of ours. So we thought, right, okay, if we're going to Uluru and we want to do the Goog's track and the Udinadatta track, how do we go about it? When do we go about it? So before we picked the when, we went how. And realistically, it's going to take a couple of days to get to the beginning of the trip, which is Goog's Lake. And for those of you that aren't aware, Goog's Lake is in South Australia. It's not far out of Ceduna. So the plan is to leave early on the 20th in the morning, do 700 kilometres or thereabouts, stay the first night at Newman Rock, which is just near Balladonia on the air highway. Up early the next morning and shoot across to a place called Rushy Balcony, which is just probably about 150 kilometres short of Ceduna. And I guess a lot of people say, why don't you go into Ceduna? It's going to be a push to get into Rushy Balcony on that one day, simply because it's the middle of winter, so you haven't got a lot of daylight and you lose 2 hours heading west to east. Yeah. Hence the reason I picked that Rushy Balcony. And that's a little bit flexible. We could stop before it. We might push a little bit further through. But realistically, what that does is that gets us to Googs Lake on day 3, probably around about lunchtime or just a little bit after. So that's the target. Googs Lake is 22 kilometres into the Googs Track, right? And Googs Track basically runs from about 100 kilometre, not even 100 kilometres, 70 something kilometres north of Ceduna, up to the centre, up through the desert. People call it a mini Simpson Desert. I don't know, I've never been there.
It's basically a pile of sand dunes. So.
Yeah, there's, well, the track itself is 152 kilometres long, and there's 336 sand dunes that you need to traverse. Yeah. So it's going to be exciting. That's going to take us 2.5 days. Because they tell me from the research that I've done, the average speed on the Googs track is around about 25 kilometres an hour. So we're not exactly going to break all sorts of records, and there's no rush. Hey, we're out having a holiday. So from there, from Googs Lake, then the second day on the Googs track takes us through to Mount Finke. So we will camp at Mount Finke. And then
apparently I'm climbing Mount Finke. Is that what you've got in your plan?
Absolutely, because I'm not going to climb it. You need to climb it and take some photos so I can see what's on the top of the Mount Finke, because I've seen it on YouTube videos and stuff, and I thought, yeah, no, that's not me.
You don't need to climb it.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Whereas I need to climb it. So.
Absolutely. He's the cameraman. He's just got to do it.
Yes, we have no cameraman on this trip, so it's me.
Yes, we do have a cameraman. Here he is here. What's your problem? Anyway, so from Mount Finke, we then depart Mount Finke the following morning, and again our plan there is to go to Cooper Pedy, but we'll be heading into Cooper Pedy via the Trans-Australian Railway access line through the middle, which is interesting to say the least. Couple of days in Cooper Pedy, then from Cooper Pedy is when we go over to have a look at the Oodnadatta track, which takes into all of the old Garn railway line. So we'll be spending 2.5 to 3 days on the Oodnadatta track, which is going to take in Lake Eyre South, William Creek, Coward Springs, Oodnadatta, and all of the highlights along the way. And there's a massive list of highlights, but we won't go into that and bore you totally to death. Once we get to the top, which is Mara, on the Oodnadatta track, that brings us back onto bitumen. So we will be turning right and heading north on the bitumen, going to, hang on, let me see, I told you I'd never remember this stuff unless it was written down.
Got to turn the page.
Curtin Springs. And what we've actually done is we've decided that we're going to spend a couple of nights at Curtin Springs. Now, Curtin Springs is 45 minutes out of Uluru. So rather than, because we're cheap, rather than going and staying at Yalara, which is right at Uluru, Ayers Rock, however you'd like to call it, Curtin Springs is free camping and is supposed to be really good. If we went to stay at Yalara for a couple of days, which is right at Uluru, you're looking at around about $170 per person per night. So we figured we could save $340 by staying at Curtin Springs and doing the 45-minute travel time. Because like I said, we're cheap isn't the word. Thrifty, that's a good word, thrifty. So yeah, a couple of days at Uluru, having a look at all of the sites and taking in the wonders that is Uluru. Probably shoot out to have a look at a couple of the other highlights that are around that area. And then we'll be making our way home from Uluru through Docker River, down onto the Great Central Road, and then travelling the 2,083 kilometres that is the Great Central Road, back down to probably Geraldton. Brings us back onto the blacktop just out of Geraldton, and then we'll do the 5 hours home. So that's quite the trip, but quite the trip will be, I think it's going to be fantastic.
No, absolutely.
The sites that you see out there are amazing. I've done bits and pieces of the Udnadatta track before, but there's a lot out there that I haven't seen. Never done Googs Lake. I've done Uluru, but I haven't done the Olgas, Cartajuta, sorry, is the Aboriginal name that they call it these days. So never been there. So there's going to be a lot of things that I haven't seen before. Clearly there'll be quite a few things that Paul hasn't seen before.
Most of it.
Most of it.
When you get off the air highway from there.
Okay, well, Paul's seen the air highway from there. Most of it. And the third member of our team that's going over with us this time is a gentleman by the name of Ben Hudson. You'll catch up with him on the trip. It'll be the second trip that Ben's ever been with us. The first trip that he was with us was way back almost when we first started.
Yeah, we did a track in Byford that you're not allowed to drive on anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Near the southwest area, near where I live, there is a track which is really exciting, but apparently you're not allowed to drive there anymore. Right. So if you want to have a really good look at it, dig back into the archives. It's actually a very, very
You can
good
watch
track.
someone driving it when you were allowed to drive on it. Or we assumed, we were.
Yeah, of course
we were allowed to drive
We
on
never
it,
got
weren't we?
arrested. Yeah,
No, no one told us that there was no sign.
There's no signs. We never got arrested, and it must have been all
That's
good.
right.
So anyway, that's the plan for the trip. But like I say, we're very much open to if we find somewhere that we want to think this is great, let's stay here a night. We certainly can, because yes, I've mapped this out to go. Okay, we've got 14 days on the road to do this trip. I've built in a couple of days spare. So if we did this trip on the exact day that I've got written down, we would finish it in 12. So that allows us the freedom to go, okay, we can stop here for an extra night, we can stop there. The only place that we are locked into is Googs Track, because you must book camping permits for Googs Lake. Right, and clearly they want the signs. They want the booking times. So we are booked in on the 22nd, the night of the 22nd of July, to camp at Googs Lake. Other than that, we're totally free, and even if we don't find somewhere that we really want to stay when we're out and about, we're actually going to have to spend a little bit of time in Curtin Springs, because you need to have permits to travel through Docker River and the Great Central Road. And again, your permit lasts for 3 days. You've got a 3-day window, and it's almost 3,000 kilometres. So if you're looking at doing 1,000 kilometres a day, basically 900 kilometres a day, that's going to take up your 3 days, 2 nights, 3 days, and it's dirt. That road, last time I did it, was absolutely fantastic, with the exception of probably about 100 kilometre stretch at Docker River, which is undoubtedly the worst corrugations I have ever seen in my entire life. The corrugations were 250 mil deep. They were amazing. And it was one of those things where you could not find a sweet spot. You just had to sit at 30 or 40 kilometres an hour and hope stuff didn't fall off your car. But having said that, that was, in the scheme of things, a very small proportion of the actual drive. So that's where all the planning come from. I sat down and done that. I run it past the guys that are coming on this trip with me. They've all gone, yeah, that's great. And I don't know if you can see that, but just for your benefit, what I like to do, again, is not necessarily have a concrete plan. but I put together highlight packages in particular areas that we're passing through, which gives a little bit of history on the area and some of the points of interest that are in that area, right? And I'm not going to go through it, but I'll draw an example for you here. Oodnadatta track, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There are 16 points of interest on the Oodnadatta track, which I believe is worthwhile stopping and having a look at. So clearly, if we've got the time, that's awesome. If we haven't got the time, then we kind of pick the highlights of the highlights, if you understand where I'm going from there, and we see as much as we possibly can. Now, again, we try and bear in mind as what we don't want to do. This is a holiday and it's a long drive, but we also don't want to get to a point where you think we've got to get up at the crack of dawn this morning and we've got to do 1,000 kilometres, end of story, because if we don't, something's going to fall down. That's why it's very, very flexible. And the guys that are going, Ben is a good friend of mine, Paul and myself, we're away all the while. It's one of those things where we can go, okay boys, plans have changed, let's do this. And we're going to be very excited not only to do the trip, but really looking forward to putting together the video package so we can show it to you guys. It may or may not help with a trip that you have planned one day. It may bring back memories with a trip that you've actually done. It may give you an idea of somewhere that you might want to go, and not necessarily do the entire journey that we're doing, but you might want to go, I want to do Goog's Track, because you can do Goog's Track 2 days and then turn around and hit the blacktop and come straight back down into Ceduna, which is around about a 5-hour trip. So if you were in South Australia and you wanted to do the Goog's Track, hey, you can have a look at it, go up and down. So you can mix and match, but I think it will give you a really good understanding of what's out there and what the track is like. I did a massive amount of research by watching YouTube videos, Facebook posts, whatever we could actually get hold of. But again, it's really subjective. What I found was, particularly on the YouTube videos and the Facebook posts, some people where it was horrible, the track was chopped up, it was really soft sand, it was hard work, it was this, it was that. Other people, you see, and they drive through without a problem whatsoever.
Driving, isn't it? It's the adventure of off-road.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only thing that we look at is when we get there, we know what we want to do. And the critical part, every single video or footage that I've seen all says the same thing, and it's something that we live by. Tyre pressure is key, right? Adjust your tyre pressures to suit, even if you've got to air up and air down 2 or 3 times on the track, and you'll have a great time. So that's the trip. Really excited for it, and hopefully you'll watch the videos when they come out and you'll enjoy it as much as we enjoyed being on it.
Absolutely. All right, third and final piece of news. Some of you will already know this. Flies back again. You notice Gary's gone and got himself a refreshment. He's got through his stuff.
Boutique beer. I've got through my stuff. I'm good to go. Now it's just the old chirp in from the sidelines.
That's right. That's right. Patreon. I have made a conscious decision to shut down Patreon, and before I get any further, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all those people that have supported us on Patreon, especially those guys that have been there since the very beginning. Thank you so much for your contributions. They have helped immensely in help us get a little bit of camera gear to make good content for you guys. So thank you. But I have made the decision to shut it down for a couple of reasons. One, I don't want to be stressing out about having to provide promised extra content when pretty much everything I film goes into our videos.
Yeah.
So there's really not a lot left rather than giving sneak peeks to people. And to be honest, the Patreon hasn't grown as much as I would hoped it would. Of course it would if I was doing it for 10 years like other people have done it, but I've only been going for a year or so. Just hasn't quite taken off the way I would like it to take off. So, and I've advised our Patreons, and most of them have withdrawn their subscriptions, and I will be shutting that down the end of June. And in its place, I'm switching to YouTube memberships. Now the memberships, basically, YouTube does all the work for me, so I don't have to do anything apart from do what I normally do. So there are 3 levels of membership. There is silver, gold and platinum. Silver basically gives you priority response to comments. You get some special emojis and some, I can't remember what the other one is. There's 3 little perks for that. So basically that one is a $3.99 level where you're just supporting the channel. The next one is gold, gold level, something like that. Gold level. I'm getting confused with points.
We can have our own special gold class.
We could. So, and on that level, you actually get to see all the videos that are uploaded. Now, you may not know that we are pretty much 3 months ahead in content. So what we're filming out and about now won't actually be released on the channel until about mid-September. But if you're a gold class member, you actually get to see that as soon as I upload it. Basically, it'll go bang. So you'll be able to almost travel with us as we're out on trips. And the platinum, which is the top one, gets you all those other perks, but it also gets you discounted merch in the shop. And how you do that is basically contact me, don't buy through the shop, and I will give you a 10% discount on everything that is in the shop. So that's pretty much how the memberships work. All you got to do is go onto your normal YouTube page, click on my channel or our channel, hit the join button, and you can choose which level you want to be. So of course you can always support us by going onto our website, checking out the merch, buying a sticker, a patch, a t-shirt, anything on there you wish to purchase. That will also help go a long way, because this gear, we've got lights up here, we've got camera here, we've got microphones attached to us. It's not cheap.
Absolutely, it's
even
not.
A battery for a GoPro, 2 batteries for a GoPro is $65. So nothing is cheap. I always say the only people that make money on YouTube is the camera houses. Only people. Us YouTubers don't. But that's just the way it is. YouTube is always a hobby. It always will be a hobby for me. I don't think I'll ever be able to make a living, and if I think I get that far, I probably won't enjoy it anymore, and I won't do it anymore. So it's my hobby. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy putting the footage together, and most of all, I enjoy sharing it with you guys. So,
Yep, absolutely. And this is, Paul has no idea I'm going to say this. I think the decision that Paul's made is a good decision for himself, but particularly for our viewers and our Patreons. It was becoming, as Paul said, more and more difficult to provide our Patreon supporters with something that was greater and over and above normal YouTube videos. And they were paying month in, month out, which was awesome. We loved the support. But Paul clearly just didn't feel that we were giving anybody value for money on the Patreon, because 95% of all of our videos upload free on YouTube. Yep. So that the Patreon guys that were paying to help support us, again, thank you so much. But there was no value for money there for you. The memberships, I believe, is better value for money. And it's something we want to put out as much as we possibly can for you viewers to enjoy the journeys that we go on. And I think that the whole membership thing will provide you with something that's worthwhile. So please have a look at it, have a think about it. We're not begging for you to throw money our way. If you want to do that, that's great. If you don't want to do that, that's a personal choice. We understand that not everyone's got a spare couple of bucks these days. Times are tough. But if you have, that would be awesome. And from me, I know Paul's already thanked you, from me, the Patreon supporters that have been with us since the inception of Patreon, and even the ones that have joined up in the not too distant past, thank you so much.
Yep. All right, guys. And of course, the other way you can help support the channel is to like, subscribe and share. Thank you so much for listening to us babble on for the last 15 minutes or so. We really do appreciate it. And next week we will return you to normal viewing. I think there's a Was Solo episode, or is that No, that's this. No, they would have already seen that
No,
episode.
they'd have seen. We just finished my trip back
Well,
across.
I think there might be a Gary video having a look at something that might or might not be in the
Oh,
background.
yeah. No, of course. While I was at Newman Rocks
Yep.
dodging rain.
We got a review coming out after
Yeah.
that one, so you'll enjoy that one. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you on our next adventure. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.